Tucker coming at you from Austin. I'm a zero waste expert and recycling nerd of 20 years. Today, we're going to talk about deconstruction over demolition, how this is a really hot topic right now, especially in the green building space. And some cities, like here in Austin, are moving forward with a construction and demolition debris recycling ordinance, which it instructs construction sites to recycle at least 50% of the materials that are being generated on site at places that are 5,000 square foot or more, that are either a renovation, a remodel, or a new build. So, construction companies in Austin have to recycle their 50% of their materials if their project fits within those parameters of 5,000 square foot and remodel, rebuild, or whatnot. So there's other cities around the country that also have these kinds of ordinances in place. And even if there's not an ordinance, it just makes really good business sense to not put everything in the trash, right? The things that you can use whenever you use a deconstruction model over demolition can be reused in other projects, resold to other companies as well. So we're going to go over these kinds of building materials that should be salvaged for reuse. So I just want to introduce my company, Zero Waste Strategies. We are an environmental consulting firm. We help businesses reduce waste for increased revenue, deeper customer loyalty, employee empowerment, as well as a green marketing edge. And we've worked with companies like Dell, AT&T, Apple, Nestle Purina, Kohler, the city of Austin, and several university campuses. So we can help businesses get their waste issues under control and help plug any money leaks within the business, look at your purchasing practices, as well as do your staff training, waste audits, where we're up to our elbows for 5-6 hours into your waste stream and all the way down to the gum wrapper, right? So there's all sorts of things that we can do as far as business services to help your business get into compliance with local ordinances, or help you do the right thing and the cost saving route of zero waste. So what if I told you that the construction sites could actually be zero waste? So I know it sounds a bit impossible. We're dealing with very bulky items like roof shingles and concrete and large amounts of wood and sheetrock, the gypsum material. But there's many ways that we can go about doing a zero waste approach. But just stick with me for the next 15 minutes or so, because today we'll be sharing practical steps that your company can take to get as close to zero waste as possible. So I also have a freebie at the end of this video, so watch till the end. So this really isn't just about helping the environment, right? This is about implementing zero waste programs at your sites that can give you thousands of dollars in disposal costs and wasted material returns. So you can save that money instead of spending it on dumping it in a landfill, right? So I'll explain some simple solutions like deconstruction instead of demolition. We want to prioritize deconstruction over demolition. Training, right, for proper waste sorting, and ways to reuse and recycle materials actually on site. So I'll provide some real world examples of construction firms diverting materials, maybe not the firms themselves, but some examples. And my goal today really is to get you excited about reducing waste through methods that are good for your bottom line. And if you really care about your environmental impact and operating efficiently, you just can't afford to miss out on this approach. So let's dive in and reshape the way that we think around construction waste. So The first thing to consider is that reducing waste and proper sorting on construction sites really should be a top priority for any company in this field. Not only is it better for the environment, but can also, um, save you money in the long run. Construction sites generate massive amounts of waste. According to the EPA, there's over 164 million tons of in the US created in just 2018 alone. So that's nearly twice as much as any other industry. Remember, we're talking about large amounts of waste, and much of it is very bulky and very heavy. So most of this waste just ends up in landfills, right? So that's just the easy way to deal with it, go and dump it. But um, it could have been, a lot of it could have been reused or recycled. So this is obviously bad for the environment, but it's also just bad for business. So as disposal costs are increasing year on year, so those disposal costs can become really huge. And that's where zero waste principles really come in. Zero waste, if you're not familiar, is a global business efficiency concept, and it requires 90% waste reduction from landfills. If you can do that through waste reduction, reuse, repair, remanufacturing, refabrication, recycling, even resoiling like composting, those are ways that you can divert these materials away from the landfill. So it requires a 90% or more. If we can do more, even better, right? So zero waste is really about radically reducing and diverting as close to 100%, 90 to 100% from landfills as possible. And it starts at the design stage and choosing construction methods and materials that will minimize waste. So on the job site, it means really strict sorting and diversion of all waste as much as possible. But again, we're looking at 90 to 100% is the goal there. Um, Really having clearly labeled bins, like those big roll off dumpsters that you see that are really long, like 20, 40 cubic yarders, that can hold a lot of materials, and making sure that staff, your construction workers, are properly trained of what goes where, and what they should be looking for whenever they have materials that they're pulling off the job site, that they know exactly where those individual dumpsters are that can take that particular material, of course. And studies really show that the average savings could be around $5,000 per $1 million spent on a construction project with comprehensive waste plans. So think about that. Um, Another key zero waste strategy is prioritizing deconstruction over demolition whenever possible. So demolition is quick, but it sends tons of valuable materials to the landfill. So deconstruction is really what we want to prioritize over demolition, right? It is a much higher and better use of the materials before they are ever considered being landfilled. Deconstruction takes a lot more planning up front for these materials, but by dismantling a structure carefully, 80, 90% of those materials can be salvaged, reused, could really greatly reduce your waste and your cost impacts to the bottom line of the project, right? You need to stay in budget. So why not use waste reduction as a part of padding your budget so there aren't any overruns? So some tips to get started with deconstruction over demolition: plan ahead. You got to have a plan, and get deconstruction experts involved early on in your project. So we really want to also train staff for proper removal and handling of reclaimable materials. We want to reclaim these materials for a future project. And then also partner with salvage companies, salvage yards, and to sell and reuse collected materials from your sites. And even when full deconstruction isn't feasible, steps like conducting a pre-demolition waste audit and salvaging targeted materials can make a huge difference to your bottom line. And of course, the personnel are critical in having a successful waste management program at your sites. So you got to invest the time and the care that it takes to train employees, and of course, make sure that they feel empowered, that they feel knowledgeable and confident in their decision making whenever it comes to properly sorting that waste. They know exactly what goes where. Um, Whenever it comes to the properly labeled dumpsters that are on the site. And they, again, they feel confident in making those decisions. And you got to, just invest the time into the training in all your employees. It may not be the people who are specifically building. Maybe it's your office administration that are signing off on permits and that type of thing. They need to understand the recycling and waste diversion process as well. It's not necessarily just those who are driving hammers and nails, right? So field staff need proper training, your admin, your construction workers, they need to understand these diversion techniques and the sustainability goals of the entire project. So a really great way to get people's attention and get their buy-in is to offer incentives for meeting certain targets for waste reduction, meeting certain goals that can promote that cost savings. So if you can tie in a cost savings to your bottom line and reward your staff, your workers, maybe they're contract day laborers, to get them to properly sort, then that might be something you'll want to implement. And with the right zero waste program and commitment to deconstruction principles over demolition, construction sites can actually become models of efficiency. So think about taking these steps that reduce environmental impact and can save companies significantly on costs. So with that said, if you are interested in my freebie, I have a downloadable PDF form of these talking points of this video so that you can use them whenever you are maybe managing your own construction project. Maybe you've got a build that you're going into, or a remodel or a renovation. And this can be done at home too. It doesn't just have to be a commercial property or an apartment building that you're constructing. If you've got an add-on even at your own home, that's definitely something that you can take into account, is how do I divert these materials from my own personal site at home. So if you'd like the downloadable PDF freebie, let me know. Just raise your hand or say yes, please, or something like that in the comment section. Whether you're watching this live or a recorded version of this later on, I'll definitely get that on over to you. And another thing to consider is that if you're interested in our Cash for Trash Zero Waste Business Academy, we're enrolling right now for fall 2023. Just reach out to me and so that we can book a call. I want to make sure that your business needs could be adequately met by our services. So I want to make sure that we have a good match there. So it would just take a quick call for us to understand what you need and what we can provide in order to alleviate any of your headaches around waste issues. So I'm happy to take any of your questions and to discuss further the ways to make your business or help your business embrace zero waste. Open discussion is really important to me, so go ahead and either drop your comments or questions or reach out to me via direct message, because when we work together for an aim for deconstruction over demolition and proper sorting on all projects, we can really make a major collective impact. So I'm going to check our questions here, see if we've got anything in the chat. All right. Well, it looks like that's the end of our live today. Let me know if you want to get in contact and we can set up that call for you on the Zero Waste Business Academy. And then if you want my freebie, just raise your hand. All right.